Hi Gemini, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if this is your first time here. So this is going to be a love and spirituality reading for the month of November, and it will be for Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. Okay, so the King of Cups just popped up at the bottom of the deck. So it looks like there's some strong emotions between you and someone else. It could be one-sided. I don't know why I'm picking up that it's one-sided, but that's what I just heard. So someone could have stronger feelings for you than you have for them, or vice versa. But what I'm really getting is that if it seems one-sided, it's not, meaning that someone could be kind of holding back their emotions, so it feels like it's one-sided, but it's really that the other person is holding back in some way. So that could be for a specific group of you. But even if that's the case, if someone is holding back their emotions from you, then just treat the situation like it's one-sided. Because technically it is, if they're holding back their emotions, you know? So that could have been for a specific group of you. So let's pull for the past position. And I will be extending this video. In the description box down below will be a link to my Vimeo channel. The Lover's card, see, that's your card. So the Eight of Pentacles jumps out. So the Lover's card and the Eight of Pentacles. So the Lover's card is your card, so I could read this two ways. It could be that you in the past have been really focused on yourself, really working hard to build yourself back up after a time period of not being focused on yourself. So it looks like you are just wanting to pay very close attention to you and not really put much focus on anything outside of you. But for those of you who that doesn't apply to, this could be that you have a very strong connection to someone that you were putting a lot of time, energy, and effort into because you felt like this person was the one for you, a very strong pull towards you with that person. So it's kind of like soulmate energy is what I'm feeling. So yeah, I feel like if some of you felt like this person was it, or you just felt this very strong bond, you just decided to put a lot of work and time into them, like paying very close attention to them. For some of you, what I'm getting is that this person was paying very close attention to you. So they could have been watching you very closely, watching you on social media, kind of like studying you. And I'm not picking it up in like a creepy way. It's just more so like someone who just was really very interested in you and felt a pull towards you, so they were just paying very close attention to you. And that could go vice versa. This could be for you as well, like you could have been the one really studying them or paying attention to them. So take it as it resonates. Either way, someone was putting a lot of hard work into a connection, or this was you putting a lot of energy into yourself. Let me fix this. My camera is like off. Okay, is it on? Is it good? All right. So let's pull for the present position then. Okay, another message that I'm getting is that some of you had a decision to make and you were putting a lot of energy into making that decision, or you were trying to pay very close attention to detail when it came to that decision so that you don't make the wrong one. So it's a couple different groups that I'm picking up. Okay. Let's pull for the present position. The Four of Pentacles comes up. That's kind of a shift from the Eight of Pentacles. The Knight of Swords in reverse and the Eight of Cups. Okay, so like I said, the energy kind of shifted from you putting in work and effort into someone or them putting into you to there being no communication and someone holding off their feelings. Excuse me. Every time I get the Knight of Swords card here, my throat always starts acting up because this is a card of blocked communication. People just not speaking to each other, not speaking their truths. Could be the silent treatment, ghosting, things of that sort. Because it just looks like someone decided that it was better to retreat and to hold their emotions to themselves and to not give it. I'm getting so many different scenarios here. I'm going to try to sort them out in my head, because in the beginning, what I picked up before I even pulled the cards was that there's a one-sided situation, or a situation that seemed one-sided because one person is not expressing their emotions or opening up. They're like closed off. So that could be this person that I'm picking up on. This person could have blocked communication with you, or they're just not speaking to you the way that you would like them to, meaning that they're just not communicating their feelings the way you want them to. For a lot of you, or for some of you, this is your energy of you cutting off communication, or you kind of keeping your feelings to yourself because that other person was not giving you what you wanted, or you're just not feeling the connection as strongly as you were before. Something might have happened that turned the connection around. It's too many scenarios I'm getting in my head. That's why I said I'm trying to sort it out. But either way, there is a drastic energy shift from, this energy to this energy of like putting in work and then boom, putting in no work. So there is some type of imbalance here. Somebody has some type of attachment style issues where the connection just could not be secure, where something was just off. I'm getting the energy of I'm getting the image of two people like just missing each other. It's like, those cartoons or like those shows where two people are looking for each other and they just keep on missing each other. Like one goes in one door and then that person comes in the room and then they leave out the room and that other person comes back in the room. Kind of like Scooby-Doo, when they're like chasing each other and they just keep missing the monster keeps missing them. It's like that. That's the image that I'm getting in my head of like two people or a connection where you just keep on missing each other because the communication is just off. So it's something that just keeps on going wrong. Like even the smallest bit of miscommunication just causes the situation to collapse, and then you end up not talking to each other for a couple weeks, and then you end up talking again, and then you end up going apart again. It's like very chaotic type of energy because it's a miscommunication, and I feel like it really stemmed from someone being afraid of their own feelings and not wanting to acknowledge how strongly they feel about the other person. For some of you, you could have had a decision to make between two people. Oh gosh, this is so weird and specific. You could have had a decision to make between two people, and one found out that you were making them an option, and then they cut you off, or they shut you out. All right, I'm not even going to touch that scenario. Let's move on to the month of November. I'm getting way too many scenarios in my head, too many messages. So I'm picking up on a lot of different people's energy. It sort of sounds like a bunch of like gibberish in my head because I'm picking up on like too many conflicting or too many different stories at one time. So let's move on to November. What to expect in the month of November, or what to look out for. Three of Pentacles. So that's a positive thing. Ten of Cups in reverse. Okay. So I said Three of Pentacles is a positive thing because it's the card of communication and cooperation, meaning working things out with someone, but it's being clarified with the Ten of Cups in reverse. So it looks like in the month of November, any type of communication that you have with this person, it's going to be a communication that involves why things are not working out. So it could be somewhat of an unpleasant situation or an unpleasant conversation, but I feel like it's necessary because I feel like there has been no communication about why things are going the way they're going. It's a bunch of like possibly breaking up and coming back together, but not really talking about why that keeps on happening. Like just leaving and then coming back together, but not really working out the problems. Or if you haven't left and came back together, then it's just been a one-time split, and there has been no real closure. So I feel like there is a conversation that needs to be had about you know, why the situation is not coming to, has not come to a close in the right way. So I feel like if you're dealing with someone who is conflict avoidant or who is dismissive avoidant, they're not going to want to have this conversation, so it may not actually happen for you. Don't force it. Like, just because you hear me say this in the reading, don't think, okay, that means I need to reach out to them and I need to ask them, like, we need to talk about this. Because if it's someone who has constantly kind of been dismissive and they are consistently dismissive and they don't like to open up, then don't even bother trying in the month of November. Those type of people, you have to kind of leave them where they are and wait for them to make the decision to open up. And if you're still waiting around by then fine. But just don't go, like, I never want to give anyone guidance to go and reach out to someone who's constantly been trying to avoid speaking to them. You see what I'm saying? But for a lot of you, this has to do with you possibly seeking out guidance about why you keep on ending up in situations like this, or why you keep ending up in situations where you think it's going to turn out well, you think it's going to turn out with your happiness or end up in a happy ending with someone, but then it keeps on ending up like this. So I feel like in the month of November, you're evaluating why that is, and you are possibly seeking out help from someone in order to figure out why that is. And if you haven't been thinking about doing this, you might want to consider it, because it looks like you're a bit too close to the problem and you need to see things from a higher perspective. That is a Gemini trait as well. You kind of can zero in on the details and to see things like piece by piece, but sometimes you can miss the big picture. And so sometimes you need someone to step in and give you the big picture from an outside perspective and give you kind of advice on why things are the way they are. And if you're not seeking outside advice, then you could just be needing to see things from a larger perspective on your own. You may need to kind of step back from a situation in order to see the bigger picture, in order to see what lessons you're supposed to be learning, in order to see what part you're playing in the connection continuously not working out. So it looks like November is going to be a month of really self-evaluating and really, like I said, not looking so much at the details, but just needing to see the bigger picture or the overall picture of what's going on. So maybe seeking out spiritual guidance or spiritual advice as well is what I'm getting. So let's see. And that is something that's going to take a lot of strength, because it does take a lot of strength to really be able to look in a mirror and analyze yourself, and not to put the blame on someone else, or not to put the blame on anything outside of yourself, but to really take responsibility for the things that's going on in your life. It is going to take a lot of strength. Also, it could take a lot of strength to see other people for who they really are. So if you have been trying to avoid facing the truth about someone, or avoid facing the reality about someone, November may be the time for you to do that. So let's see what else is going on in November for Gemini. I'm telling you, as soon as that Knight of Swords comes out, my throat starts acting all crazy. All right. Nine of Cups, that's good. Okay. Let's get a good clarifying card, please. We want positive news. Let's see. Page of Wands. Okay. So if there has been something that you have been wishing for, but you have been very pessimistic about it, your pessimism is causing you to be blocked from getting what you're wishing for. Okay, or if it's not your pessimism, it's the fact that you are wanting something but then taking part in an energy that's completely opposite from what you want. So for example, let me show you the cards. So for example, if you are wishing for a happy relationship, but you are constantly putting energy into relationships with people who don't see your value, or who aren't willing to work with you or cooperate with you, then you are going against what you say that you actually want. And that goes for friendships as well. That goes for family members, like interactions with family members. If you're saying you want to live a positive, healthy life with healthy, positive connections, you have to embody that energy and do things that will lead you in the direction of that. If you are wishing for something, but then you are, like I said, doing the opposite, or taking part in things that will lead to the opposite, then that's why you're not getting what you want. And that sounds so simple, but it's kind of not, because sometimes it's subconscious. Like consciously we say, okay, I want, I want someone to love me. I want a loving relationship. But subconsciously, we think that we don't deserve that relationship. So our subconscious mind controls a lot of our actions. So we will start taking action towards things that are opposite of what we say that we want, because subconsciously we think that we don't deserve what we want. You see? So there is a need for you to really evaluate what you wish for in life, and then look at your surroundings and look at what is going on in your external environment. If it's the complete opposite of what you're saying that you want, that means that your subconscious mind needs to be reprogrammed, and that you need to really do a lot of soul searching and digging and get to the root of why you're constantly sabotaging your own happiness, or why you're constantly sabotaging the things that you wish for. Because the Wheel of Fortune is at the bottom of the deck, and it is in reverse, and that lets me know that you have been stuck in a cycle for a very long time, and it looks like it's like a cycle of misfortune. Like it just seems like you are feeling like bad things just continuously happen to you over and over, and you are pulling these bad things into your life based off of your subconscious. Now, I'm not talking about those of you who have been, brutally abused and things like that. I'm not saying that you manifested those things into your life. That's a whole other thing, because humans have free will, and unfortunately humans are wicked and they can impose their free will on you. So I'm not saying, oh, you got abused a couple years ago, you attracted that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about situations where, for example, you say that you want a great job, right? And then you get a job interview, and then you end up sleeping through your alarm. Now, that could be an innocent mistake, or it could be that subconsciously you don't believe you deserve that job. So you are sabotaging yourself by staying up too late, so that you're so tired that you do sleep through your alarm. You see what I'm saying? That's the type of thing I'm talking about. It could also be with connections. You say that you want a loving connection, but you constantly chase people who are emotionally unavailable, who don't want to talk to you, who don't want to communicate with you, who are closed off, who don't want to give you what you're giving them in terms of love, energy, affection. So you have to ask yourself then, do you really feel like you deserve a loving relationship if you keep consciously chasing people who won't give it to you? That means that subconsciously something in you is blocking you from letting go of people who, like I said, can't give you the things that you say that you want. So I hope that that made sense. I feel like that is it. And yeah, I feel like that is it. I feel like that reading was really, really quick. Let me show you the cards, and before we move on to the extended, I'm trying to see if any messages come through. No, that's it. All right, I'm going to show you the cards before we go to the extended, so I will be right back. Okay, Gemini, so here are your cards. Like I've been explaining in the other readings, I'm showing the cards at the end of the readings now, so that if anything pops out at you, like if anything stands out, then you could possibly get some intuitive guidance or messages of your own. So just take a quick glance and see if anything stands out, and allow your intuition to kind of guide you. So it looks like for the month of November, it looks like things could be very positive for you, because we do have the Nine of Cups in the upright. The Lovers is in the upright. We have a few reversals, but it looks like for the most part, things have the ability to easily turn around, because I feel like a lot of what has been blocking you has been yourself. So that's a good thing, because when we are the ones that are blocking ourselves from happiness, that means that we can make a change. If it's someone else that had control over us or was imprisoning us, then we have no control over that. But like I said, when it's us doing the imprisonment or imprisoning ourselves in some way, then we can easily turn it straight around. So I think that a lot of it has to do with, like I said, you needing to see the bigger picture. I feel like you're needing to see things from a higher perspective, from a more spiritual perspective in the month of November, because I'm just getting the energy of someone who is just kind of pessimistic, like not purposely, like I'm not saying you're purposely walking around being negative. It could be just that your mindset about certain situations are negative because of the way that things have been turning out. So if things have not been going in your favor for a long time when it comes to love or when it comes to career, it makes sense that you would start to develop this kind of negative mindset, because you are kind of preparing yourself for the worst. Like, I'd rather just think negative, so that then if something negative happens, I won't be too disappointed. But the thing about that is that you are actually creating the negative situations by expecting the worst case to happen. You see what I'm saying? Like, by thinking the worst case scenario is absolutely going to happen, that's what makes it actually happen. Like, that's what starts making you take steps towards negative things, or take steps away from the positive things that you really deep down inside want. So there's a need for you to kind of switch your energy and kind of switch up your mindset and be more optimistic about the things that you want, and believe that you can actually have them, and to not be so analytical about it to the point where you're like, okay, how can this possibly happen? And then you start trying to plan out every detail, like, okay, I need to do steps A, B, and C, and that seems impossible, so there's no way I can get this, because things can happen out of nowhere. Like, miracles can happen, things could just kind of cross your path and come into your life that make no sense. And sometimes that's why you have to let go of trying to figure out every little detail and just kind of go with the flow and see the bigger picture of things, because, you know, like I said, things can happen out of nowhere, miracles can happen, so we can't always figure out exactly how good things are going to come into our life. We just have to believe that it's going to happen, and then kind of step back, still do the work, obviously, still do the work towards the things, but don't be so attached to a certain way of getting to where you want to go. So I feel like overall a lot of optimism and self-reflection is needed in the month of November, and things will quickly turn around for you. So that is it, Gemini. I hope that this was helpful. Again, I'm going to extend this reading on Vimeo, and I'm actually going to do a second spread on Vimeo as well. So I'm going to do a shadow work reading on Vimeo along with the extension of this. So yeah, I will leave the link to that in the description box down below. And again, I hope that this was helpful, and I will see you over on Vimeo. Bye.